on? It's Darren Rose here at South by Southwest in a quiet room. Something rare about South by is finding some quiet space with Martin from Depeche Mode. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks.
Let's talk first about South by Southwest. What's your history with the festival?
I have to be honest, and I have zero history.
But that's great. I mean, is it something that you guys have either talked about, or what's kind of been the stigma, I guess, about what you know of South by Southwest?
There's no stigma to it. I think we've just decided to do things differently this time regarding the promo of this record. Mm-hmm. We've rehearsed early so that we're ready to play at this stage of a record. You know, we can actually go out before the album's released and play things like this, mm-hmm. and do live TVs. You know, usually we're not rehearsed. We leave it till the last minute before we go on tour, really? Okay. And then we don't have, you know, we can't fit in things like this, or it's the wrong time of year for this, but we can't even do live TVs.
Let's talk about the new album coming out April, I believe. Is that?
I think it's out later this month.
Later this month. Okay, yeah, we already are in March, aren't we? Yeah. Delta Machine, is that?
That's right.
How did you guys come up with Delta Machine?
Well, of course, we like the fact that the you know, the DM and the DM. We like that,
okay, yeah,
and it looks good graphically, and we have been kind of playing around with like electronics and like kind of blues influences for a while now. Mm-hmm. So that's why the two things, the Delta and the Machine bit. Okay. And also our music's very electronic based, but you know, it also obviously uses other stuff as well, so it's like organic and inorganic stuff. Okay. So it's lots of different meanings.
Let's get to know you a little bit. I want to kind of throw out some random kind of quick questions here for you. What was the first concert you ever attended?
I think the first show that I ever saw was Talking Heads.
Oh, cool. Yeah. What about the first piece of music you ever bought? First album you ever bought with your own money growing up?
I think the first single I ever bought was, I think it was Donna by 10cc. Okay. If you remember that.
I don't know. That's beyond me. I don't know. Yeah.
And the first album, I can't remember what the first album I bought was, but I remember the first album that I had was Ziggy Stardust by David Bowie.
Another good one, yeah.
Because fortunately for me, my cousin gave it to me. And I don't know why she gave it to me, but I suppose it was a life-changing moment.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. What about around the house, growing up, your first exposure to music? Maybe it was something that your older siblings or parents had on the stereo in the house. What were some of those artists?
I fell in love with music at about the age of 10, mm-hmm. when I looked in a cupboard and found literally a plastic bag full of old 45s, and they were my mum's records. They were all old rock and roll, you know, like classics. It was like Elvis, Chuck Berry, Del Shannon, mm-hmm. The Platters, all that kind of stuff.
And what about your first exposure as an artist, actually playing music? What was your first instrument, or how were you turned on to performing?
Well, because I fell in love with music at the age of 10. You know, by listening to all that stuff, there was something mysterious about it that I liked. I didn't quite understand, and you know, I just somehow wanted to be involved in it. So it took me a few years, but I think I was about 13 when I started playing guitar, mm-hmm. and someone taught me how to play a couple of chords, and then I got like a chord book, and then just taught myself from there.
When you're on the road and you go back home, what's the first thing that you do when after you've been on tour for a while?
Well, it depends. I mean, I don't get to see my kids for like a long time, so that'll be the first thing, you know. Mm-hmm. I mean, hopefully they'll be coming out in the summer when we play Europe, because they won't be at school, so they'll be coming out for a bit of that. Okay. But then once we get into America later in the year, they'll be at school, so you know, there's long periods where you go without seeing them. And
Depeche Mode, before you guys hit the stage, just moments before you're about to go on, do you guys have any pre-show rituals? Anything that you guys kind of do before you hit the stage?
Yes, we do. we do this kind of like, I'd have to call it a macho group hug thing. Okay. And we all kind of go, and then we slap each other's hands as hard as we possibly can, and see who can hurt the others the most, which is bad when if you're the keyboard player or guitarist.
Anything, yeah, or drummer or whatever. If you got to hold something. Is that something you guys have always done as a band?
We've done that for a long time now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, before we let you go, I want to talk about Heaven, the first single off the new album, Delta Machine, coming out end of the month. How did that song come about? Can you kind of give us the conception of that and what it means to you guys?
I think it's quite a different sounding single for us. It's quite slow, and traditionally our slower songs have never really done as well as the more up-tempo songs. But we just felt that it has a special quality to it, and it sets the album up nicely.
Well, I really appreciate the time today, Martin.
Thank
Depeche
you.
Mode, looking forward to the new album, and thanks for enjoy the rest of your South by Southwest.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, man.